Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Jasmine Zapata, MD. Thank you so much for joining everybody who is viewing live. This is Dr. Jasmine, and today I will be talking about tips for dealing with grief and loss during the holiday season. I'm going to just give a little bit of time for all of my for everybody to join. Welcome to all my replay viewers. Welcome to all my replay viewers. All right, I'm going to just work on flipping this over right now. All right, hello everybody. Sorry for all the noise. This is Dr. Jasmine Zapata. Thank you everybody for joining. Hello. Thank you so much for joining everybody. Happy holidays. I know everybody's been busy shopping and doing different things, but I just really had this on my heart to share today. And thank you so much for everybody being here. Hello, T. Diddy. Welcome, Dr. Sandra. Thank you so much for joining here today. I'll just give a little bit of time to welcome all my live viewers and my replay viewers. So today, as it was titled, today I had it on my heart to talk about coping with grief and loss over the holiday season. Before I get into that, I just want to give a little bit of background of who I am. I'm new to Periscope. I've only been on Periscope about a month now, but I'm really excited to be here. Oh no. Is anybody else having difficulty seeing me? I don't know, maybe it's just colors. Maybe, oh, okay. Let's see. All right. Maybe if I try to move somewhere else, then you guys will be able to see me better. Or if I stop and then I restart, then it might be able to work a little bit better. So how about we try to stop and then restart? Okay, we're going to try to stop and restart, and then maybe it will work a little bit better. Mishi 905, are you able to see me? Okay. So what I'll try to do is I'll try to stop and restart. Okay? All right, so come right back. I'm going to try to stop and restart in a second and see if you all are able to see me better. All right? Hello, TVS. I'm having some difficulty. Some people are saying they can't see me. All they can see is colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to stop this and restart it and see if that works. Okay. So you guys come right back. Oh, you guys can see me now. Awesome. Well, hi, Chai Boy. Welcome, T Diddy. Sometimes it's good now. Great. Sometimes if you just log out and then you log back in, then it's able to work. So let me get started. I'll just give you a little bit of background about myself. My name is Dr. Jasmine Zapata, MD. I am a physician, a health empowerment and education coach, a mentor, an entrepreneur. I'm just a young doctor, mother, wife trying to change the world and help the world to be a better place and encourage other people. My main point in my whole life is to spread the message of hope, strength, and the power to overcome, and let people know that no matter what you're going through, no matter what happened in life, no matter your circumstances, you can make it, because you have such a big calling on your life and so much to do. And it's so important for you to achieve your purpose, because your destiny is not just about you, but it's tied into so many others. So that's kind of my mission. And today I had it on my heart to talk about coping with grief and loss over the holiday season. Now, a lot of people might be wondering, why is a medical doctor talking about this issue? But according to the World Health Organization, health is so much more than, and also from life experience, true health is more than just physical well-being. It is the complete state of social, emotional, economic, mental well-being as well. So it's not just about our physical health. Our emotions are really, and our mental health is tied in there as well. Forgive my dog Roxy for if she's making any noises. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. Now, a lot of people right now you see are going shopping. They're happy. They're in the Christmas spirit. Things are so happy, but there are so many people that are dealing with grief and loss and sadness over the holiday season. Do any of you guys know anybody who is dealing with that? It might be yourself or friends or family members you know that are dealing with grief or loss over the holiday season, whether it is from loss from a job, loss from a marriage, loss from a life situation, or the biggest thing I'm talking about today is loss from someone that you love, or a family member, or someone who passed away. All right, so the things, I just have 4 quick points that I want to talk about. Number 1, ways and some tips to work through grief and loss if you're dealing with that during this holiday season. Number 2, how to help children who are dealing with grief and loss during the holiday season. Number 3, how to recognize signs of depression. How to recognize when normal grief and loss is kind of going over the edge to the point where you would need to get some further interventions. And then finally, just end with a little bit of motivation and words of encouragement for anybody who's dealing with it. So number 1, ways to work through grief and loss. Number 1, sometimes it's good to set realistic expectations for yourself. A lot of us are very, very strong, including myself. Some deaths that I've had in the family, I expect myself to be so strong. I'm still going to do everything. I'm going to cook this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get all this done. But you have to set realistic expectations for yourself that you might not be able to do it all. So that's one tip. Number 2, surrounding yourself by people who love you. The holidays are more than just buying gifts and doing different things like that. But if you are experiencing grief and loss or depression or sadness, just to be around people who love you, people who make you smile, whether it's your best friend from college, whether it's your mother, whether it's your siblings or friends, just even though it might be hard, the hardest thing you can do, even to just get up out of bed, if you go surround yourself by people that you love or people that make you laugh and happy, that's a really important thing to do. Another point when you're dealing with grief and loss over the holiday season, or just in general, is to kind of create something new. Okay, if you ever experience a loss, one thing that we're always taught and one thing that is really helpful to do, you can never replace that person, but if a piece of you is gone, to replace it or to add on something new in life that can help encourage you. For example, I picked up, after my grandfather passed away, which I'll talk about a little bit later, I got a gym membership and I started doing things I've never done. Just started doing Zumba classes, dance classes, playing volleyball, and that really, really helps. So just kind of like either whether it's creating new traditions or getting a new hobby, just being able to create something new to kind of shift your mind. Hello, Julia Sappho. That's my mom right there. Welcome to the Scope. I am talking about strategies for coping with grief and loss during the holiday season, because a lot of times people are going around happy, cheerful, but there are a lot of people who are dealing with grief and loss over the holiday season. So I'm just giving some tips of ways we can work to overcome that and how we can support others along the way. So number 1, set realistic expectations. Number 2, surround yourself by people who you love. Number 3, replace that loss with something new. You can never replace that person, but to just get a new activity in your life, something creative, a new hobby, something to just shift the way that your mind thinks. Also, giving back to others is something that's very, very amazing thing to do. Whether it's volunteering, whether it's encouraging somebody else, there is definitely healing in working to help heal other people. My brother passed away when I was a junior in college. I'll talk about it a little bit later if we have time. When he was only 16 years old, it was one of the hardest things in my life. I was just getting ready to start medical school, getting ready to apply for medical school. And at that time, I said, I'm quitting college. I can't go on. But with the grace of God, support, and from other people, I was able to keep moving on. But one thing when I moved and did start medical school, one of the biggest things that helped me, my mom and I started a community gospel choir for teenagers, teaching them the importance of hope, strength, and the power to overcome, and teaching them that no matter what you go through, no matter how hard things are in life, you have to keep moving on. You have to keep moving on, and you can make it. Hello, welcome, Vern Slayton. We're talking here about how strategies to overcome grief and loss during the holiday season. If you guys know anybody who could be benefited or helped by this, please share this with your followers. But what I was saying is, when we moved and I started medical school, my mom and I started a community gospel choir, and we poured our heart and souls, and it's still going today, into those teenagers who were dealing with homelessness, abuse, neglect, and we poured our hearts into them, teaching them about overcoming despite adversity, no matter what life puts at them. And it was in our brokenness that we were able to share that with them. And it was so healing. It was part of our healing process to help other people. So that's just a quick tip about how one way that can help with grief and loss over the holiday season. Even in your pain, give someone else a call who might be going through something. Send somebody a text message. Give an extra little card or gift to somebody you know who is going through. And in helping somebody else, that will be helpful to you. A final tip in how you can personally, just strategies for overcoming grief and loss during the holiday season. A final strategy is to please take care of yourself. A lot of us, including myself, it's hard for us to shop for ourselves, do anything nice for ourselves, get our hair done, get our nails done, anything like that. I am not into that. My husband and my mom will tell you that they have to, it is pull pins and needles to get me to go shopping for myself, do something for myself, because I'm always so worried about other people and wanting to make other people happy. But it is okay to take a little bit of time for yourself. Even if you don't have money to go, get a massage or something like that, there's a lot of stuff you could do for free. Even going and watching the water, even like saying all the busy tasks that you're doing, just taking an hour out to go somewhere calm and peaceful, listen to music, do something for yourself. It is okay to, even though you're trying to support and comfort other people, it is okay to take time out for yourself. So that's another tip. So just to recap, ways to work through grief and loss, you personally or someone you know, set realistic expectations, surround yourself around people you love, people who are going to make you happy, give to others, and do something for yourself. And one final thing that you can do is allow the emotions. It's okay to cry. It's okay to scream. It's okay to not walk in the room and be happy and cheery. You have to let the emotions flow, because if you hold it all in, then it'll come back later. So it is okay to allow the emotions to come. So the next thing that I want to talk about is how to support kids who are dealing with grief and loss. In addition to all those other things that I mentioned before about how you personally can help get yourself through grief and loss over the holiday season, in addition to all those strategies, 2 things that are important for kids. Number 1, have a conversation. Welcome, Aisha 1038. We are talking about strategies for coping with grief and loss during the holiday season. Usually the holiday season is something very exciting and people are cheery, but there are a lot of people dealing with grief, loss, and sadness this holiday season. And we're just talking about some tips and strategies for working through that. So we talked about some personal things, and you can catch the replay, but now we're moving on to how do you support kids or teenagers dealing with grief and loss during the holiday season. A year ago today, from this day, my grandfather passed away. I'll show you a picture of him real quick. This is my grandfather. He was 90 years old when he passed away, and he was the absolute light of my life. Ever since I was 5 years old, I said, and I went around and told my whole family that I want to be a doctor one day. I had a lot of support, but he was one of my number one support, and he always told me, never give up on your dreams. In this picture, he was walking me across stage when I got my medical doctor degree and became DrJasmineZapata. He had knee problems and issues, but he slowly walked me across stage in front of thousands of people. And it was just the most amazing feeling. And 2 years later, he passed away. A year ago from today. He was in hospice for his last few days, and I was able to personally care for him, and it just was an amazing and humbling experience for the man who helped me, encouraged me to complete my medical training despite the loss of my brother, despite the premature birth of my daughter, other things that I went through. Just to be able to, he helped me to become a doctor, and to be able to use those skills to help him and transition him in his final days of life is just words can't express. But the reason that I brought my grandfather up is because my 2 kids, ages 5 and 6.5, they were in love with him. That was that was their great grandfather, and they loved him so much, and they saw him in his last stages of passing away. So it was my first experience with walking children as young as, less than 6 years old through the process of death and dying in a loved one. And so it was, I can do a whole scope on that later, but the things that are important for kids who are dealing with grief and loss during the holiday season, have conversations. A lot of times we just ignore and we just kind of forget about it, and we try to shelter our kids, and kind of, if someone passes away or something happens, we try to shelter them from that. But it is also very important to talk to them, have conversations at their level of understanding about what's going on. So to talk and say, hey, I miss Grandpa today, or how are you feeling? Let's think of some memories about him. Having those conversations are crucial rather than just ignoring the topic at all. So the number one thing for this holiday season, if you have any kids or anyone dealing with grief or loss during the holiday season, please listen to their feelings and talk to them about the elephant in the room. Talk to them about it. Open up space so that they can find a safe environment to talk about their loved one, okay? I need to, in a way, I got to take my own advice, because this morning I woke up and I was really teary-eyed, and I was just crying a little bit because I was missing my grandfather, and my son was next to me, and I actually hid my tears. I didn't want him to see me crying or anything. I just asked my sweet little baby boy for a hug. I said, Mommy really needs a hug this morning. Can you please give me a hug? And he's so sweet. He gave me the biggest hug. But I do plan to, over this holiday season, just ask them, how are you feeling with Grandpa not being here? Let's talk about our favorite memory. He's up in heaven, and let's think of what he's doing. He's probably having such a great time. Even something as simple as that is something very important. So I'm going to even follow my own advice, okay? So number one thing to help kids is to listen and create space for them to talk about it. And then the number two thing is give them creative activities and outlets to express their emotions. Sometimes kids aren't able to write in a journal or give a whole big speech on how they feel. But if you give them creative activities to do, whether it's sports, whether it's making a picture in honor of their loved one, whether it's making some type of cookies or gingerbread houses, give them creative outlets to express their emotions, okay? So that is how you can help kids. The next thing I want to talk about before I close is how to recognize signs of depression, and to recognize when, normal grief from a loss of a loved one is kind of getting to the point where it's something more serious that you might need to get help or extra support, okay? So just quickly, some signs of depression, whether it's you or loved ones that you know. Increased sleep. So if someone is just sleeping a lot more, can't get up out of bed, just kind of sleeping a lot more, that's one thing. If they're not interested in activities this is actually how we diagnose people with depression in the clinic, ways that we think and tips that can kind of help you all. If they lose interest in the things that they used to do. So if you have a girlfriend or a friend that used to always come with you every Friday night to karaoke, or always call you at a certain time because you guys are interested in going out to eat, but all of a sudden that changes and they're not interested in the things that they used to be interested in, a red flag as well. Okay. Another thing, guilty feelings. If someone's always talking about feelings of guilt and shame excessively, that is a sign that true clinical depression could be creeping in. Energy levels. If someone is just out of energy, irritability, irrational behavior, those are things that can kind of be signs of depression as well. Another big thing is being secluded. If someone used to hang around or come around a lot more, but then all of a sudden they're secluded and they don't want to come around, and you're like, I haven't heard from so-and-so in many, many weeks or many, many days, what's going on, and they're secluded, that's another thing. Of course, if you hear anyone say, I just want to go to bed and not wake up, I've been cutting myself, or if they just say like, I don't even want to be here. It's like a joke. you have to take that seriously, because clinical depression and suicide is real. A lot of times it can start with just normal grief from a loved one passing away or other things, but sometimes it can move to the point that it's deeper than that, and people truly are clinically depressed and suicide is real. The worst thing that you could do is, if you know somebody who's showing signs of clinical depression, is ignore it because you're too scared. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to approach them. I don't know if I should say this. It's better to say something to that person and they be mad at you, and whatever your words were came out awkward. It's better to do that than to not say anything at all and that person sinks deeper and deeper into a depression. So we need to make sure we're supporting each other. We need to make sure we're up in people's business. Even if they're mad at us, it's because we care and we're not going to let depression take them. So those are just some tips for how you can recognize within your own self, within other people, how if just normal grief and loss is kind of moving into another level. And the last thing that I just want to leave you all with is just some motivation and encouraging words for if you're dealing with grief and loss or know somebody else that is dealing with it. So I showed you a picture of my grandpa. This is a picture of me and my brother. He was and still is the love of my life. His name was Aaron. He passed away suddenly in his sleep at age 16 when I was just 21 years old. I'm 29 now. So it was a few years ago when I was getting ready for college. He was the love of my life. A lot of people thought we were twins. I loved him and I still love him so much. When he passed away, as I mentioned, I thought my life was over. When I got there to the house where he was when he passed away, his body was still warm. I ran and I collapsed onto his body, screaming out wails. I thought my life was over. I did not know how I was going to make it, but with the support of God, my family, and determination, I didn't use that situation to be an excuse for it. Now I finally have an excuse to drop out of college. It wasn't easy, but I used that situation as kind of gas in my fuel tank to motivate me to keep going. When I was having a hard time studying for my test, when I had a hard time getting up, even to just take a shower, I thought, and I used him as my motivation to say, what would he tell me? What would he want me to do? And so that's one of my words of encouragement to leave you all with. No matter what your situation, if you're dealing with grief and loss, just try to, instead of letting your mind go down the path of despair, just going down a path of thinking of worse and worse things, use it as a motivation and a fire and a fuel to propel you towards your destiny. No matter how hard it is, no matter how hard it might hurt, use that person and try to think of what would they want me to do right now? If they were still here, what would they say to me? So use that loss as a motivation to keep on going, because that's what I was able to help me. Another thing is just remember that your destiny and your future, the purpose that you were called on this earth to fulfill, it's not just about you. So in your grief and despair, hello, Nick Zizi, welcome. Please catch some of the replay, but we're talking about how to deal with grief and loss during the holiday season. And I was just talking about my grandfather that passed away last year and my brother that passed away just at age 16, and how I thought my life was going to be over. I thought I was going to drop out of college and not become a medical doctor. And instead of using that as an excuse to fail and to drop out, I use that as motivation and fuel to reach my destiny. Now, my last closing point that I wanted to just convey to you all is your purpose on this earth is not just about you, okay? Your purpose and your destiny, the reason you were placed on this earth, the dreams and visions that were implanted inside of you, it's not just about you. So you can't give up. No matter the grief and loss that you're dealing with, you cannot give up. Because your future, you accomplishing that goal, you finishing up that class, you starting that business, you doing what were called to do is meant to help somebody else. So if you fail, if you give up and die, there might be hundreds and thousands of people who you were going to be able to reach and touch one day. So it's not just about you. It's so much bigger. And those hundreds and thousands of people might touch other hundreds and thousands of people. So when I was thinking about giving up, when I was laying there on the floor on my brother's body, when he passed away, crying and thought I was going to lose it, over those next couple weeks and months, I had to remember that I have to use this as motivation and fuel so that I can help other people one day. And also, my destiny is tied with so many other people. So I'm going to close out now, but I just wanted to, just to recap, ways to work through grief and loss. If you are experiencing it personally or other people, it's just important to be aware that not everybody, there are people going through stuff this holiday season. Not everybody is happy and joyful. So different ways you can deal with that. Set realistic expectations for yourself. You might not be able to do the whole big meal that you used to always do. Set small goals, realistic expectations for yourself. Surround yourself with people who you love and love you that will make you smile. Don't be going around any drama this season. Go around people who love you and support you. Allow the emotions to flow. If you want to cry, if you want to yell, you need to let those emotions flow, or else it will come back and overflow in the wrong way later on. Giving to others is another thing that is very helpful when you're dealing with hurt and pain and grief and loss yourself. Helping and even sending an encouraging word to other people. Taking care of yourself is also, do something special for yourself, to pamper yourself, to spoil yourself. Do something for you. It is okay to do that, even though you're trying to support and be so strong for other people. Finally, other two additional things that you can do to help kids that are dealing with grief and loss during the holiday season. Instead of ignoring it, have a conversation with them. Talk to your babies about their feelings and emotions in a level that they can understand, but open up with those conversations. Give them a creative outlet for how to express their feelings and emotions, whether it's sports, whether it's making a card or a picture for the loved one that passed away, or whether it is doing some type of arts and crafts or something that they can creatively express their emotions. And then a final point is how things we talked about this session is how to recognize signs of depression, that is kind of moving deeper in more into the clinical depression, where you might need to seek out some extra support or counseling, is if you are sleeping more than normal, if you have lost excitement for the passions and hobbies and things that used to get you excited, if you're having excessive feelings of guilt, if people are secluded away from others, and also if you hear people saying, I feel like not living anymore, I wish I could go to bed and not wake up, or actually say, I wish I could just die. Even if they're just joking, you have to take that seriously and help people seek out counseling or additional help from your doctor or from a counselor or something like that, okay? Because it's normal to feel grief from a loved one passing away, but it's important to know when it's kind of getting into that mode of serious clinical depression that you can get help and support with, okay? And then the final word was just, no matter what you're going through, I'm so sorry for your loss, whether it's you or a loved one who's dealing with grief or loss during this holiday season, but just be encouraged. Know that you can make it. Know that every day you go to bed and wake up the next day, life is moving on. You're one step closer to making it through. An analogy that I once gave when I lost my brother, I said that I felt like I was in the Army and I stepped on a grenade and my leg got blown off. At that moment, your leg gets blown off. You're bleeding out. You think you're going to die because of the blood loss. It hurts. You're in pain. You're screaming. They rush you to the emergency room. That first day is going to hurt. You are in pain. But the next day, a week later, you're still in pain. Your leg's not there, but the initial shock is gone. A year later, you're feeling a little bit better. You're always going to look down and your leg is gone. It's not coming back. That loved one is never coming back, but the pain is a little bit better. 10 years later, you're not in any pain anymore. You've learned how to adjust to life. You've learned how to use your crutches or your prosthetic leg. You are making life work. You have learned how to readjust to your new normal. There's no more pain, physical pain in that area. However, your leg is never going to be there. So when you've lost a loved one, nothing. I'm not going to sit here and tell you one day it's all going to get better. Your leg's going to grow back. It'll get replaced. No, it's not. You're never going to be the same because that person that you lost, you love them so much and no one will ever be like them. However, what I can tell you is it does get better. Every day you go to sleep and wake back up the next morning. Every day you just make it through one more day, one more year. You are getting one step closer to your healing. Okay. So You're always going to look down in that leg, and that person's going to be gone. However, it's not going to hurt as much the further you keep going. Don't give up on your dreams. Never let anything make you give up on your dreams. Keep pressing, take one day at a time, take care of yourself, and you will make it through. So that's all that I'm going to say about this. So I hope that this was able to encourage someone. And if I can just have 2 people tell me one thing that as a result of this session, you're going to do either for yourself or for a loved one you know who's dealing with grief and loss this holiday season. If I can just get 2 people to tell me something that they're going to do as a result of what we learned here today, then I'll get off of here. I promise. Okay. So if I can just get 2 people to write and tell me one thing that you're going to do to either help yourself or help somebody else who's dealing with grief and loss this holiday season. All right, while I'm waiting, I'm going to just show the picture again. This is my brother, Aaron. I love him so much. And he was awesome, awesome dancer. He was very creative. He was so awesome. And then this is my grandfather. He passed away a year ago today. So today I'm celebrating his life. And also I want to give a shout out in heaven to my Aunt Louise. She actually passed away this morning. It was my grandfather's sister, and she passed away exactly a year from the day he passed away. So she just passed away this morning. So keep my family in your thoughts and prayers for that reason. All right. Do I have one person who could tell me one thing that they're going to do to help themselves or somebody else dealing with grief or loss this holiday season? Embrace, cherish memories, love hard, laugh often, and live well. Thank you. I can always depend on the awesome Miss Julia Sappho to come in and give some good tips and answer my questions. Thank you so much. So this is Dr. Jasmine signing off. Thank you so much for everybody who hung in here with me and listened to this scope. Also, thank you to all my replay viewers for listening to this. I highly encourage you to share this with, I will share with my mother-in-law that her remaining family carries on the spirit of the one past. Yes. That is so true. Thank you, Shy Boy, for sharing that. And for all my replay viewers, if you are able to share this with somebody that you know, you can share it on your Twitter or anything like that. I really would appreciate that so we can help other people. The whole mission of my life, and hopefully you can help me to spread the message of hope, strength, and the power to overcome. There is nothing that can hold us down because we were created for greatness, okay? Also, if you want to stay connected with me, go to www.DrJasmineZapata.com. DrJasmineZapata.com, and for ways to stay connected with me. Okay. Take care, everybody. Happy holidays and stay encouraged. Bye.